All right, so let's get started. So landing pages, let's get down to it. What is a landing page? So landing pages is another term, and often a lot of the topics I talk about are terms that have just a lot of buzz around them. A landing page is actually a marketing term, and what it's supposed to refer to is basically if you create a page and you advertise that page. So let's say you do Facebook ads or you do Google ads, and whatever that ad is, when they click on it, it would go to a page. That page is known as a landing page. So in essence, the whole point of a landing page is that it's meant to generate leads. That page should have something on there where you could collect information of a person so that you could reach out to them or have communication with them and pretty much close business. So that is what a landing page is. It is the page that somebody lands on, through marketing. But in real estate, the term gets convoluted a bit. And many agents that I speak to, they think of landing pages as, like a feature. Like, they'll ask me questions like, oh, do you have landing pages? And I think this is just an industry tactic. The word has been kind of convoluted over time. To break it down for you, if you have a page and that page has a contact form, that's technically could be a landing page, right? It's a page that allows you to generate leads. So when we're talking about landing pages, all you have to know is that it is a page designed for you to generate leads. That is what a landing page is. And the truth is, having a landing page, just because a website contains landing pages, and every single one of you, if you're a Web4Realty client, you have landing pages on your website. You have free home evaluation, you have the listing alerts, you have the area alert. These are all landing pages. They're designed to generate leads. But again, the truth is, and not just for landing pages, but for any marketing, if you're not driving traffic to the landing page or to your website, they're not going to do anything for you. It's kind of like if I give you a stack of 500 business cards, if you don't distribute them, there's absolutely no value to them. So a landing page is it's inherently built to be advertised. So you build it and then you market it. And we'll go over some of the marketing methods that you could use. And of course, there are good landing pages and bad landing pages. And when we talk about good and bad, we're not talking about the design of the landing page. Although design is one of the factors that contribute to a landing page's success, when we're talking about the success of a landing page, we're just talking about how good or how effective it is at generating leads. So to give you an example, if I launch an advertisement and have a landing page attached to it, and let's say it goes out to 200,000 users on Facebook. Let's say that's the ad. And out of the 200,000 users that see the ad, let's say 100 of them click on it, okay? Out of those 100 that have clicked on it, meaning they've landed on your page, how many of them convert? How many of them fill up that form? That is actually how you determine the success of a landing page. It's pretty much how well have you built it that it converts leads. And again, design is not always the number one factor. It could be the wording that you use on the advertisement. It could be the way that you structured the landing page. Maybe it's very convoluted. Maybe it's obscure. Maybe it's not using the right messaging. So when we're talking about building a landing page, there are some questions, and I've put them down here, that you should have the answers to before you even think about building one. So do you know who you're targeting? A landing page should have a specific target, market or demographic, right? So who is this landing page targeting? And am I speaking their language? So when you're building a landing page, are you using, the type of words or content that is relevant to that market or that demographic? So maybe the way that you design a landing page for seniors may be different from first-time buyers, may be different from commercial investors, etc. What is your value proposition? If the whole point of this landing page is to generate leads, then you need to make sure that you have a value proposition. You're saying something enticing that will make them want to fill out the form. All right, so the last question here is, how will I drive traffic to this page? So again, the same way that I was mentioning that a landing page means nothing if you're not marketing it. So you need to have an answer, like what's my plan? Now, once I build it, what's my plan to actually bring people to this page? And of course, this webinar is not going to be a comprehensive look on how to do that. I will be doing future webinars where I discuss, marketing tactics, independently. I'll do a Facebook one, an Instagram one, a Google Ads one, but I'll go over a broad overview in this webinar. So that is what a landing page is. So now let's scroll down and let's talk about what an ideal landing page would look like or have. And one cool thing about this webinar, what I'm going to do in this one is I'm actually going to build a landing page in front of you. And not only am I going to build it using the Web4Realty system that you all have, it'll give me a few opportunities. Number one, it's going to allow me to really show off Page Manager, which is the website builder. Number two, it's because this is recorded, you'll always be able to refer back and kind of follow these steps. And the third thing, that the reason that I want to kind of show you this demonstration is not only am I going to show you how to build the landing page, but I'm going to show you the things I do before I actually get to building it, right? Because building a landing page, you don't just open up the website builder and start building it. That's kind of like building a house without a blueprint, right? So I'm going to kind of show you the steps that you do beforehand you start building a landing page, and it will make you much more efficient and effective when you start building. All right, so when you decide to create a landing page, here are some guidelines that you should follow. And these guidelines, again, the purpose of them are to give you optimal performance. And again, that comes down to conversions. We want to build a landing page that converts the most amount of leads possible. So here are some guidelines. You want to make sure you have a clear and enticing call to action. So let me break that down. When I say clear, meaning your call to action should be a single call to action. A landing page, for example, shouldn't be targeting both buyers and sellers. It should either be clearly for buyers or clearly for sellers or clearly for investors, etc. So it's got to be very clear. It should be a single purpose, right? And when I say enticing, you want to use language that really makes them want. You're giving such a value proposition that they'll feel enticed to fill out the form. They'll feel like they're missing out if they don't. So to give you an example of that, of course, you could say free home evaluation, right? That is a call to action. You're telling them, I'll give you a free home evaluation. Now, is that as enticing as saying, know the value of your home in today's market in 24 hours? Now, that's the same thing. You're giving them a home evaluation, but your call to action, the way that you're wording it, is more enticing. And of course, you can go online and Google, landing page, headline tips, and call to action for real estate agents, and you'll find a bunch of awesome tips online for that. All right, the second thing is the content. So you want to make sure you have relevant content when you're building a landing page. So what do I mean by that? If I'm making a landing page targeting Mississauga home buyers, so I want to make sure that the imagery, for example, that I'm using is showing Mississauga. I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen, a landing page for the GTA. Somebody would make a landing page, something related to the Greater Toronto area and looking to buy and sell. And in the background, they'll use photos that include, palm trees, which obviously has nothing to do with Toronto. So you want it to really, when somebody looks at it, they know that this is relevant to them, that you really know the market and it's specific for them. So again, you want to speak the way your target audience speaks. And I kind of touched on this earlier. The verbiage you use, you want to make sure that it's the way that your target speaks. So again, the way you might talk to seniors may be different from first-time buyers, may be different from investors. So maybe for investors, you talk a lot about return on investment, right? Maybe that's the verbiage you're using. Whereas for first-time buyers, maybe you're giving language that's more about hand-holding them through the process, which is often stressful. All right. Another guideline here is easy-breezy contact forms. So nothing is worse than going to a landing page and you see a contact form that has like 50 different fields, right? Nobody's going to want to fill that up. You're kind of scaring them. You want to have a contact form with the minimum number of fields. You maybe want their name, their email, and their phone number, and maybe one or two additional details. But I would keep it as simple as possible. And then if you want to gather more information, once you get the lead, you're able to communicate with them. So you could do that. So I'd rather you get the lead than ask them 100 questions and pretty much turn off a lot of people, right? The market right now, everyone wants instant gratification, and you're not helping if you have a very long contact form. Now here's a big one. Don't hide yourself. And to be honest, this is more of my personal preference. So when it comes to landing pages, many of you have probably heard the term unbranded page, right? So this is a page that your photo is nowhere to be seen. Your contact information is nowhere to be seen. The page almost looks corporate, right? It has nothing to do with you as an agent. You're nowhere to be found. And the reason why I actually do not like this strategy is because even if you generate leads, and a lot of you maybe have already experienced this because I hear this all the time. if you do this unbranded approach where you are nowhere to be seen on the page and somebody fills out the contact form and you've pretty much kind of deceived them in a sense. And what happens is you call this, you call this lead and you say, hey, you filled out my contact form on, my landing page. And they're thinking, who are you? I have no idea. No, this must have been a mistake, right? They feel kind of, deceived because the landing page did not represent you at all. In many of these cases, it's acting as some sort of corporate, entity. So when you have a landing page, my policy, or what I would recommend, is you should have your information there. You should have your photo there. If they don't want to work with you, then there's no point in trying to trick them through an unbranded page. So that's kind of my little perspective there. And last but not least, you want to remove distractions. So your landing page should be kind of in isolation. And the term that we use is a squeeze page. And really, it's just one button that you press in the back end, and I'll show you. It's just one button you press, and it prevents the lead who's on the page from accessing different parts of the website. You don't want them to go on your landing page and then to get distracted by other content, right? So you want to remove distractions. So these are the guidelines that I use when I'm building a landing page. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to build a landing page in front of you using Page Manager, which is the website builder that all Web4Realty clients have access to. And before I build it, let me show you what I do. So before I build any page, I actually generally have a folder in my, so I'm going to build you guys a landing page right now for a pre-construction project. And this pre-construction project is known as 55C Condos. That's the name of the project. And what I do is in my computer, so I don't have to go looking around, I put all of the files that, are necessary for me to build the page. So I have a logo, I have an exterior photo, I have some interior shots that I want to include. And I also have content. So obviously my landing page is going to have some content. So what I like to do is I just take out a notepad on my computer and I put in some notes and the content that I'm going to add to the page. So I have all of this ready. So when I go in to do the landing page, again, I'm not just improvising. Everything here is organized. Now, the most important thing I do is I actually create what I call a wireframe. And generally, you will do this on a piece of paper. But of course, because I'm presenting to you, I did it, digitally. But all a wireframe is pretty much you drawing a very skeletal kind of ideation of what you want your landing page to look like and be organized. So this way I'm not improvising. The way I'm going to structure, so the landing page I'm going to build for this condo or pre-construction condo is I'm going to put the logo, and then I'm going to have a section where I have, a call to action on the left, the contact form on the right. I'm going to have an overview with some headlines, kind of breaking down a little bit of the condo. I'm going to have some photos. I'm going to include a map, and then I'm going to have my contact information. So you don't have to be Picasso to make this, right? Like I said, you can just use a pen and paper. But once you have this broken down, it makes it very easy for you when you use Page Manager to, again, build the page and just feel very organized. Obviously, when you do it your first time, it'll probably take you time just to kind of understand the quirks of the software. But after you've done a few pages, you should be able to build a landing page like this in no longer than 20, 25 minutes tops. So I have my wireframe here. I have my content. So I'm going to keep this open. I'll just minimize it for now. I have my wireframe, so I know how I want to design it, and I'll minimize that. And then obviously I have the graphics that I want to use, right? So let's get building. Let's build one right in front of you. So let me just exit this right here. And let's open up the dashboard. So let me just log in here. It's probably going to force me. Oh, okay, there we go. So we are logged in now to the back end of the website. And we are now going to go, let me just maybe put this full screen. We're going to go to Website Page Manager. So once we enter Page Manager, we are going to click this green button right up here called Add Page. Okay, so we're going to click Add Page. And like I was telling you, this page is going to be called 55C Condos. So this is a pre-construction project, and this is the name of the project. So it's going to be a content page. Now, it doesn't have to be a main page. 99% of the time, your landing pages will be hidden pages. So I'll just make it a hidden page, and I will press Add. So once I add this page, I pretty much start off in a blank slate. I'm going to get rid of this title here because that's not how I want to build it. Okay, perfect. So now we have a blank slate, and let's go ahead and use, again, the wireframe design that I have. Let's follow this along. So the first thing I want to do is add that logo. So I'm going to press the pencil button to open up this section. I'm going to drag and drop the image icon, right? And I'm just going to add that image, right? So I already had it ready here. It was called logo. It's going to load, and we're going to press add. Perfect. So now my logo has been added. The second thing I wanted to do was add a section with my call to action and my contact form. So again, we're going to press add new section. So I'm adding a new section here. Every section I ever build, I always start it off at 100%. And I can kind of get into why, but it'll just make your life a lot easier. Just know that. Always start off as 100%, even though I'm going to actually make it 50-50. So I add 100%. So now I could add content in here. So like I said, I wanted the left side to have my call to action. Let me just show you as a reminder. I wanted my left side to have my call to action and the right side to have a contact form. So what I'm going to do is actually click this green button right here at the bottom right that says add subsection. And I'm going to add a 50-50 subsection, okay? So on the left side, I want to add my call to action. So call to action is pretty much just text. So I'm going to drag and drop the text here. And I actually, like I said, I've already written out my content. So I already have here what my call to action is going to be. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to Page Manager, and I'm going to paste it. So here it is. It says get floor plans and platinum pricing, register now. So I'm going to center it. I want to make it a different font. So I'll select the font. I will select the size. Let's see what 56 looks like. Okay, maybe even bigger. Let's try 58. Okay, and let's make it a little more spacing. So maybe add, more than that. 72 pixels of spacing here. Perfect. And I want to change the colors of the fonts. So I want the word platinum pricing to have like a yellow or gold color. So I can click here, and there's already a gold color option here. And I want these words, the black font, to be white. And don't worry, right now it looks invisible, but I'll explain what I'm doing shortly. Okay, perfect. So I've added my call to action here, which says get floor plans and platinum pricing, register now. On the right side, I want to add my contact form. So I'm going to just go here, and you'll see an option for contact forms. I'll drag and drop it in the right side. And then it's going to ask me, which form do you want to add? So I actually have a form called pre-construction, and I don't need any title. I have the option to customize the send button. So I'm going to click on that. Okay. So I don't want it to say send or submit. I want it to say register now. I really want to get their attention. I want the button to be centered. All right. In terms of the font, I mean, you could play around with this. So I'll pick one of the fonts that I like, which is Montserrat. Okay. I want the font to be 22 pixels. And I want the radius. So these are just basic settings that you could play around with. So you could just watch me as I do it. The background, I want it to be transparent. So transparent is this button right here, this little X. Okay. I don't want any shadow. So again, transparent. The font could stay white. And when they mouse over it, I'll make it go red, which is fine. And I'll add a border. So the border, I'll put a white border at 2 pixels. And again, you could play around with these settings, but it's pretty straightforward. In terms of the height, maybe I'll change it to 50. And some final settings here. If I click this box, I like to hide the title. It just makes the form a lot cleaner. So I just click that and I press add. So now my contact form has been added. And again, everything looks kind of invisible right now. And the reason why is I want to put a background here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this gearbox right here, and I'm opening up what is known as the section settings, and I want to add a background. And this is going to give the page some life, right? So I'm going to add an image, okay? And like I said, I already had all of this planned out, so I already have my image ready. So here it is. It's an image of the condo from the outside. I'm going to hit the settings, and I love using the effect called parallax. And you see here how when I scroll, this is what parallax effect is. Right? I like using it. It makes the page, again, have some life. And then I want to add some margins. So margins is pretty much just space. I want to add some space so more of the photo shows. And again, you could play around with these numbers as much as you want. I'm going to add 120 on the top and 120 on the bottom, and I want it to be full width. So there we go. Look at that. That looks gorgeous, right? Now I want to make this writing maybe a little bit more clear. So what I will do is I will press the pencil button to open up the section, and I can actually press this gearbox now to edit the section settings of this area, right? And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add maybe a black background, and you can use the slider bar to make it translucent, like a little bit see-through, right? So maybe I'll do it like this, and I will press save. Beautiful. So now we have exactly as I've drawn out in my wireframe so far. We have the logo, followed by my call to action, followed by my contact form. And so far it's looking gorgeous. So the next thing we want to add is the content, some writing, right? So I'm going to press add new section. And like I said, I love to start off at 100%. And the first thing I want to add is some text. So I'm going to add some text, and I'm going to just make it say, 55C condos highlights. Let's just call it that. And I'll make it nice and big. Perfect. And then I want to add a graphic that I had saved. So I'm going to drag and drop image here on right under. And I had like a little divider graphic that I got online. So it's called divider here, just to add some little effect. And I'll press save. Perfect. So look at that. Now, while you're building these pages, it is good to save often, just in case, right? So I'm going to hit save updates, just kind of refresh everything and get back to work. All right, so now we have my headline. We have a nice little divider. Let's open this section back up by hitting the pencil. And like I had in my wireframe, I want to add 3 text boxes, right? Each with their own content. So this is very easy to do. What we're gonna do is click again, this button right here in the bottom right that says add subsection. And I'm gonna use the 33, 33, 33. We're gonna drag that in the empty space. And now let's add that content. And like I said, I already had this content saved in a document to make my life easy. So I have here section 1 of 3. Here it is. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to drag and drop the text right here. And I'm going to just highlight this, erase it, and I'm going to press paste because I copied it from my document. So now I could do whatever I want. So now here, maybe I want to use a different font and make it maybe bigger. So let's try 40. No, it's a little bit too big for me. Let's try 34. And then for this content, maybe I want to make the font a little bit smaller. It's a little bit too big for me. So maybe we make it 16. Perfect. And then we could choose the format. So maybe I want it centered or justified. And then I want to add some space in the writing. Whoops, right here where it says line height, I can basically move it as much as I want. So pretty much this is how you add the content, and I'll add this. I'm just going to copy paste this 3 times just to give you the idea. Okay, so now we have 3 boxes of content that talks a little bit about the condo, right? This is a little bit too much content, but I'm just gonna, let's just cut it out from here. Okay, and okay. So again, I've added my content, and of course I could add colors. So maybe I want one headline color to be that gold color, the second one to be black, and the third one again to be the gold color, right? Just to add again some life to the page, I press save. And we're almost done, guys. So I'm so happy you guys are bearing with me, but wait till you see the end product. So now we have this set up. Now, again, I'm going to add a new section. And as you could see, I wanted to add 2 photos, right? Side by side. So I'm gonna add 50-50. And I'm gonna drag and drop the photo icon or the image icon. So I have one interior shot called interior 1. That's been added. And then I'm gonna add a second interior shot. That's called interior 2. That has been added. And we're almost done. Okay, the last 2 things I wanna add. So I wanna add a map of the area. So if I go into my document, I have the address of this condo saved here. So I'm just gonna copy it. And then if I add a section, 100%, right? You'll see I have an option here. If I just scroll, it says map. So here's map. I just drag and drop it. What's your location? So I add the location, and I'll put the title 55C condos. I press update. So it's just going to update the map to kind of show where the condo is. I press add. Okay, so now we have a map of the area, and I would like to make it full screen. So the way that you make it edge to edge is you hit this little gearbox, and again, we're at the section settings. I can make it full width, and I can remove these margins if I want. Perfect. And last but not least, remember I was saying I don't want to hide. I don't want to hide behind my page. I want them to know who I am. So I'm going to add a new section, 100%, and I want to add my contact information. So we have a widget here called contact information. I'm going to drag and drop it right in here, and I'm just going to say add, and then it has my information, right? They can call me, they can see my social media, whatever it is. So let's hit save, and let's take a look at this page that we've created. Okay, now before I do that, we need to, remember I said that we want to remove distractions. So right now, my header is showing, right? I don't want this to be here. I don't want them to be able to access these other pages. So in Page Manager, right up here, it says visibility settings. And when I click on it, if you just click this one button here that says squeeze page, you just click on it and boom, it gets rid of all the distractions immediately. So let's hit save and let's look at our landing page. This really only took, what was it, about 7 minutes to make. If we hit the preview icon, let's take a look at what the page looks like. So it's beautiful. We have the logo, we have this gorgeous background with a call to action, we have a contact form they can fill out and register. We have some highlights about the condo. We have some additional photos so they can kind of see the interior. We have a map of the area, and we have my contact information. So this is a beautiful landing page, kind of fits all of our needs. And that was it. I built this all in Page Manager. It's very beautiful. As you could see, you could do a lot of things in Page Manager. I wanted to highlight some of the key features, but it really isn't that hard once you get a hang of things. And if you've pre-planned, so having the wireframe, having everything organized in a folder just makes your life so much easier. So let us go back to these slides here, the presentation. I hope that was helpful, by the way. So you have a landing page. Now what, right? So like I was saying, just because I have that page for 55C condos, that really doesn't do anything for me, right? I need to market it. I need to drive traffic. So there are two ways to drive traffic to your landing page. There are online methods and there are offline methods. So what are some online marketing techniques that you could employ to really advertise your landing pages? So you could do social media ads, like I was telling you. You could do targeted ads on Facebook and Instagram. You could do targeted emails. So for example, if you made a landing page for Oakville homeowners and you have a client list of people that have homes in Oakville, you could send your landing page to those clients through a targeted email. You could also do Google ads. So what is a Google ad? A Google ad is when somebody searches. So let's say we did a landing page for people who want to invest in lofts in Toronto. So you could make it so somebody types lofts in Toronto and your landing page shows up. That would be a Google ad. So here's an example. I create a landing page and it's for seniors who are thinking about downsizing, right? So I decide, you know what? I've looked at some of the numbers and Facebook has, a lot of seniors. A lot of seniors are hanging out on Facebook. So I create an ad. I say that I only want the ad to show to seniors living in the GTA. And I only want the ad to show to people who are 65 years or older. This way I'm controlling the amount of money I'm spending because I really want to lower the cost of acquiring a lead, right? And then when I'm building the page, I have to keep some things in mind with my audience. So maybe I use larger fonts. Maybe people have poor vision in that market or in that demographic. So I use larger fonts so it's easier to read. And I use imagery and language that resonates with them. So maybe I show some pictures of seniors, downsizing and that sort of thing. And again, I'm using Facebook to promote this landing page. So that is these are some online marketing strategies that you can employ. Then we have offline marketing methods, right? So remember, your landing page doesn't just have to be, distributed online. You could do these things offline. So door-to-door marketing, and I'm going to show you an example of that. Networking events, if you're doing charities or if you're sponsoring maybe a local soccer team, you might be able to, come out with your landing page and promote it. And of course, publications. If you have flyers that you're distributing, door hangers are awesome. These are things that you could do where you're leveraging your landing page. So let's use an example, and I love this one. So let's say I'm targeting homeowners that live in the Churchill Meadows community of Mississauga. And of course, this could be any community in any city, right? And I've created this landing page, And the whole point of this landing page is I want to tell these homeowners that are in this community that I'm going to let them know anytime any of their neighbors or any home around their area sells, so they could figure out what the sold prices are in their area. This is something that everyone would want to know, you know? So I have this landing page and I know the area. So now I could, have an iPad, for example, like a tablet with me, and I could go door to door. I can introduce myself. I can explain that I have this no obligation program where I'll just keep them up to date with the sold prices in their area. And all they have to do is fill out this form. If they're interested, I just give them my iPad, they fill out the information, and voila, you're generating leads through your landing page through door-to-door marketing. And it makes you look very professional, makes you look very tech savvy. I think it could be a very effective way of marketing your landing page offline. So these are, some online and offline methods for driving traffic to your landing pages. And pretty much that's the whole point of it, right? You want them to land here and you want them to convert. So that is the end of this webinar. And if there's any question that I couldn't get to, or you have topic suggestions for future webinars, that's my email. Do not be shy. Rami@web4realty.com. So I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your Thursday, and thank you so much. Have a great day.